I am now 90 days into the Miracle Morning Challenge, and I have to say that choosing to read this book right here was one of the best decisions I have made this year. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the progress that I have made from undertaking the Miracle Morning Challenge and how the activities that I've been basically doing as part of that challenge have started to really compound in effect. On the 20th of June, I released a video introducing the concept of the Miracle Morning, which was pulled out of the book, The Miracle Morning, written by Elrod. I talked about what it aims to achieve, how it works, some ideas that might feed into your very own Miracle Morning, and then talked about my own and how I was planning to structure it. As a quick recap, the challenge consists of waking up at least 1 hour earlier than you normally would, and then actually using that hour to allocate activities or potentially tasks that you might have been putting off to try and be productive during that time. The plan since I started has been adjusted ever so slightly, where I've gone from doing a certain number of activities for a certain period of time, and I've kind of just shuffled them around a bit, where I'm now spending 10 minutes in the morning where I just sit in silence, and I've given myself the option to stretch during that time if I want to. I will spend 15 minutes reading, I will spend 15 minutes practicing Italian, and 20 minutes of writing, which totals 60 minutes. So let's see what happened for each activity that I allocated a time slot for. Since my last recap of my progress against this challenge, I have still managed to get up almost every single morning without failure and allocate the time that I have said I would allocate to these activities. To be fair, however, I have had some help. The weather has gotten so much better. We're entering spring here in South Australia, so that has definitely contributed to my motivation to getting out of bed a little bit earlier. Now, I still have sitting in silence as my first activity. In my previous recap, I think I expressed how much I was enjoying just having that time to just disconnect from the world. So what I've done is I've actually increased it to 10 minutes. What I've realized is just lying on the floor for 10 minutes is kind of just me lying on the floor for 10 minutes. I figured, why not incorporate something like stretching where there's not really any distractions involved. It's me just kind of just spending time to myself, giving myself a few minutes just to wake up in the morning, give myself a proper stretch, and just detox from any technology, any even light, just stuff like that. It's just wherever I'm sitting in the office, I just sit on the floor and take it in. And the other reason why I decided to include stretching as part of the sitting in silence activity was because at the moment I am training for a triathlon. My body really is starting to take a beating. My legs hurt. I am training pretty hard. So having that moment just to stretch and just loosen everything up, it's definitely helped. And I've found that it's been a bit of a useful thing just to do every day, get in a good habit of doing it. And I'm feeling a lot better because I'm doing it. So they're the two kind of one-in-one activities for my very first activity. Next up is learning Italian. This really is sticking for me. I am really getting into learning Italian now. I'm shocked because when I started doing this and I added it as to part of my Miracle Morning Challenge, I am sticking to that 15-minute window, if not going above that at other portions throughout the day. If I get a chance to practice a little bit, I will. The flow and effect of that is I can understand the language pretty fluently now. I am very comfortable listening to someone speak it, someone who can speak it fluently. I am very, very comfortable when they speak to me at being able to interpret what they're saying. I also am feeling pretty comfortable when replying to people in the language as well. I definitely still can't speak it fluently. It doesn't just roll off the tongue yet, but I am able to respond and have very brief conversations with people. And it's only been a couple of months, really. I think I'm at the 200-day mark in Duolingo, but basically from this Miracle Morning Challenge and just sticking consistently to it, the words are just, they're in my head now. I understand exactly what's coming out of the app, or if someone is speaking to me, I understand exactly what they're saying. And this is really motivating me now. Like, it's really starting to take effect. It's really starting to compound in effect. And I'm really glad that I added this to my morning challenge. Talking about consistency, the best thing that I have done this year, the best thing by far, was when I made the decision on January 1st to pick up a book and read a minimum of 20 pages every single day for the entire year. Now, I haven't missed a single day of reading this year, but I was reading at night time before going to bed, and I was falling asleep before I was actually able to finish my 20 pages, where I'd have to wake myself up, come back into it, and finish what I was reading. I moved it to the morning slot where I was a lot more alert, and I have to say, putting it as part of this challenge has held me not only accountable, it's made it a pretty pleasant morning because I like reading. I actually do enjoy it, and I've noticed that I am taking in what I'm reading a hell of a lot more because I'm more alert in the morning. On top of this, I have improved the speed at which I read at now. And I also am absorbing what I'm reading without having to go back to certain pages as frequently. This is massive for me as well. I have a bit of a goldfish memory and I struggle to remember things, which is not a good thing, I know. So having this skill basically being developed, and I'm actually noticing it because when I'm reviewing things or I'm writing a video about a book or a piece of a book that I've actually taken something from, it's a lot easier and I'm finding it a lot more flowy to like basically put the words onto a script because I know exactly what I'm referring to and I don't need to reread entire sections of a book. When I first started at the start of the year, 20 pages was taking me upwards of an hour to read, which I believe is crazy. Like when I think about it now, I'm easily reading those 20 pages in that 20 to 15 minute period that I decide to read. I'll read the extra pages I don't finish in the morning if it's a pretty thick book, but the point is most of what I'm doing in that morning routine as part of my reading activity, I'm getting it done and I'm not skipping sections. I'm actually able to read it and enjoy it pretty much the whole way through. So that's been another perk from doing this consistently, where I'm actually developing the skill and it's benefiting me in lots of different ways. Another thing I've noticed with reading is that at the start of the year, I decided that I was going to read a mix between nonfiction and fiction books. Before making that decision, in my mind, nonfiction books were the way to go. I was definitely interested in self-help, promotional, finance books, whatever it may be, and I was kind of disregarding the fiction aspect of it. But what I've found is that having a balance has been really good. I've really enjoyed some of the novels that I've read, some of the stories that I've read, and I am still enjoying the nonfiction side of it, but it's not basically consuming me to the point that I make myself hate it. It doesn't feel like a chore or a job to do, and that's basically the outcome that I was looking for when reading for a pretty consistent period of time, every single day for 365 days. Some days you don't really want to, some days you're busy. I've managed to do it every single day this year. Here we are, and I'm planning to continue this into next year as well. To date, I have read about 25 books this year, which I am extremely pleased about. I've never done that in my entire life, and it's been now coming out the back end of it. We're working towards the end of the year now. I'm feeling really good. Like I have taken so much from the books that I have read this year, especially the non-fiction ones where I've made videos about them. They've been included in lots of different videos that I've made. I actually use specific things for not only just YouTube, but just my everyday today life that I truly believe has added value to my life. And I never would have actually been given the opportunity to do that had I not read those books. I'm also planning to make a video next year once I've gone through the entire year of reading all these books, where I'm going to make a video, talk about all of the books that I read, the lessons that I've learned, any key points or pieces of information that I think would be valuable to someone watching or wanting to get into reading, or someone who might be a skilled reader who might learn something new themselves. Who knows? The point is that I'm going to do a reflection on what reading every single day did for me in 2021, because I want to create that piece of content for the future as well when I look back and see if it was beneficial to start and continue on with it, which I think it will be. But yeah, I am going to make that video. So definitely hit that like and subscribe button down below if that's something you'd be interested in. I obviously appreciate the support, but stay tuned for it. I think it will be a pretty interesting video when it does eventually come out. And finally, let's touch on writing. I decided to start writing a book. I don't know if it will be any good. I don't know if anyone will ever read it. I don't really care. At the moment, I am 20,000 words into it, which I'm very impressed with. Like, I truly am surprised that I've gotten this far and I'm still motivated to continue writing. And the actual structure of the book is now starting to take form based on how I wanted to shape it. I'm currently focusing on refining the structure of the book because I have a very specific story that I want to tell throughout it. I'm basically creating a narrative that once you get from the start to the end, you should have an idea of what to do based on something that I truly believe in, something that I truly believe is an effective way to be productive whilst also living a very comfortable and happy life. When the day comes that I do decide to release it, if I ever do, I hope that, the structure that I'm focusing on now will tell a portion of stories from my own experiences, and then I'm going to incorporate pieces of information and sources of information which definitely will help with that narrative. So at the moment, I'm just trying to build a structure that from start to finish will be something that is pleasant to read through, but also useful to read through. And hopefully what I'm aiming to achieve with the book is that whoever reads it, whoever decides to read it, I hope they get some type of incentive and guidance on how to actually implement the topic that I'm writing about into their own lives. I think that it would be very valuable to be something that becomes part of their daily routine and hoping that anyone who does eventually read it gets that from this book. Overall, with writing this book, I have gotten further than I ever thought that I would have gotten, and I can only credit it to the Miracle Morning Challenge and having it as part of my Miracle Morning Challenge, which I'm very glad that I included it as part of the challenge. And now that I've been doing this for about 3 months, it's not 1 week and I've given up. I've been doing it consistently for 3 months. I can honestly say that implementing this into my morning routine, or just before I actually start my morning routine, it has worked wonders for me in lots of different ways. It has become part of my daily life, and the time spent actually participating in these activities have been valuable to me. I've learned a lot and I've really gained a lot from doing it. I remember saying in my first video about this topic in particular that I would review my progress over time and see how I felt about the challenge as time went on. Now, being 3 months in, I can honestly say again that this will be something I'll continue to do. Having reached another milestone, I honestly motivated to continue doing it. The next milestone for an update is the 180 day mark, and it is checked off in my calendar, ready to go. So when I do eventually get there, I'll be able to write a video basically saying, hey, I gave up because it was too hard to do it every single day, or I am still going strong and feeling really good about it. We'll have to see how I feel when we get there, because 180 days is a little bit different to a 90-day update. It's almost double the time, or it's actually double the time. So we'll see how I'm feeling when we get there. Anyway, overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed the recap. I know it's a little bit different to my everyday videos because I'm not talking about a very specific topic. It's more of a reflection of how I've been going. But I hope that anyone who's actually given this a go or was thinking about giving this a go, here I am 3 months later, still preaching that this was something well worth giving a go. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. I really do appreciate the support. And as always, I'll be here in about 2 or 3 days when you see me in the next video if you come back. I hope you do. I will see you then. Have a good day, have a good week, and bye for now.